Since last year, I've been building up a vinyl collection. And I did this because I purchased a Sony PS-LX22 semi-automatic turntable from a neighbor. But I've been searching for something better. Finally ended up getting the Fluence RT85. It's a nice turntable. Great sounding Ortofon blue cartridge. However, I could not find any direct drive, fully automatic turntables for sale today. Furthermore, the choice of fully automatic turntables is really small. They really don't meet the quality and features I was looking for. So to get something new, I had to turn to the past. So why an automatic turntable? All right. I know some audiophiles are going to say belt drive is just way better than direct drive, less noise, motor noise, rumble, etc. But that's quite okay with me. I simply want to put on my record. I want to hit a button. I want to listen to my music. Not all that much into the whole fuss of needle drop and the whole manual thing. I don't want to have to deal with replacing belts down the road. I just want a turntable with the most minimum fuss possible. Another thing, the look of a turntable is really important to me too, the aesthetics, if you will. I've always loved the looks of these Denons from the 1980s. They've got these huge rosewood plinth. You've got the flying saucer-shaped platter on here. And I know that this is a subjective thing, but after all, I'm the one that's got to live with this thing, right? And these machines were well spec'd at the time. Microprocessor controlled servos with quartz lock, wow flutter down to 0.008% electronic braking. And finally, they have this, what they call their dynamic servo tracer tracker tone arm. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. However, one thing has stopped me from buying one of these off of eBay and other sources, and that's because thanks to the video from Techmoan, for example, the Denon 47F was made real popular, and the prices have gone way up on that. And these are over 40-year-old machines, and almost all the models that I have found on eBay are imports from Japan and in need of servicing. They're going to need new capacitors and motors lubed up, work to be done on them, and I just didn't want to go through all of that experience. So one day I ran across a YouTube channel called Capt, that's C-A-P-T Mark 09, and I'll put the link to his channel down below. And he's a Denon guy, right? And what he does is he purchases these machines. I guess he's got sources in Japan that finds ones that are still in pretty good shape. They send them to him, and then he in turn refurbishes these, right? He replaces all the electrolytic capacitors. He'll set them all up with the correct tracking and replace cartridges. He'll lubricate the motors, the servo arm. He'll do all that stuff. So when you get a machine off of Mark, you're getting one that's really pretty much been fully restored. So I reached out to Mark and I said, hey, do you have a 47F for sale, 45F? And no, but he said he had just finished up with a 65F. Now, this was their top of the line fully automatic turntable at that time. And I think the last of their great fully automatic turntables. It was sold as the 61F here in the States, the only difference really being in the power supply. The Japanese run on 100 volts as compared to us in the States. Other than that, it's pretty much the same turntable. I said, look, I got one of these. This is several orders of magnitude better than that 47F. And if you want, here's the price. And we negotiated a sale on it. And he said, it didn't have the very best cartridge on there. And he said, if you want me to put another cartridge on, I will. And so we settled on the Nagaoka M110 cartridge, which I've heard really good things about as well. And we did all that, and he shipped it to me beautifully packaged. I really think he needs to make a video on how to properly package and ship a turntable. And it arrived in really good condition, and I just couldn't be more pleased with the way that that whole transaction was handled. So if you're interested in one of these vintage Denons, and I think he does work on a few other brands, make sure to check out his channel. Once again, the link down below. Now, being a 40-year-old turntable, yeah, there's still some few nicks and scratches here and there. You expect that. I mean, I did. I don't expect it to be minty fresh like new old stock. But it's certainly very, very clean. A few minor scratches. Some stuff I think I can buff out at some time down the road. The dust cover is super thick compared to the new stuff out there. But the plinth is in real good shape. Just like I said, a few little nicks here and there, but nothing major. I mean, you can tell this is a 1980s design aesthetic because one of the things that companies like to do is plaster all the features right on the thing, right? Denon, of course, in big letters on here. Quartz lock, highlighted, microprocessor controlled, direct drive, fully automatic turntable system, the DP-65F. So you have these things on there. And then on the tone arm, dynamic tracer, dynamic servo tracer tracking arm. And they just kind of put labels all over the place on this turntable. This is a fully featured pack turntable. And I think that if you could bring one of these to market, it would sell many thousands of dollars in price because of all the technology and all the features and the quality and the components. I just don't think you'd bring something like this to the market inexpensively. And, you know, that's why you see the very low cost fully automatics, because it's just mostly plastic and pretty cheap parts. Whereas these were made under very exacting standards. So I thought we'd kind of go over a little bit of the buttons and controls on the 65F. First, you have a power button, and this is a mechanical power button with a big spring underneath there. And Mark said, look, use your thumb to press down to power this thing on as opposed to pressing, because sometimes that spring might stick on you. If you want to use it manually, this is your speed, 33 or 45. And when it powers up, the quartz lock will come on. That light will turn to solid green, and it locks just super fast. Then you have what's called the locate buttons on here, and that moves the tone arm back and forth. And I'll demonstrate this in just a second for you. You have your lifter, which is like your Q lever. Then a repeat function, so you could put a record on here, hit repeat, and it'll just get to the end, lift up the tone arm, glide back to the beginning, and start all over again. And then, and you may never even use these speed buttons, by the way. And then you have your start and stop button. There you go, start, stop. That's all I want to deal with. So one of the features is this turntable is able to determine whether the record's a 45 or a 33, right? All by itself automatically. How does it do that? Well, you see this light back here? That shines, and in the mat here, turntable mat, there's actually a couple holes. There's sensors underneath, and I'll lift this off. Here we go. There's sensors here, and when the light hits one of these sensors, it knows if one of them it can see through, but it can't see through the other, well, then that must be a 45. But if both of them are blocked, then it assumes that it's a 12-inch record, 33 RPM record. And that's how it works. So how does it handle a translucent record? That would trip up the light, right? Well, you see these holes right here on the back of the mat. You have these little rubber stoppers on there. You put them there, and then these will be blocked, and it will assume that the record is a 33 12-inch record as opposed to being a 45 or no record at all. And that's how you handle having a clear translucent record with this turntable. Okay, so along the side of the tone arm, you have an adjustment for your tracking force and anti-skating both. And then you have a dial called Q dampening. Now, it's my understanding with Q dampening is that it helps with warp records and just help that stylus stay in that groove a little bit better. And then this is part of your dynamic servo tracer tone arm. Here's what's cool about these tone arms. These run off of magnets, so there's no gears, there's no cables, no pulleys. It's all done through magnets. So that was just allows it, as Captain Mark says, allows this tone arm to beautifully glide back and forth on more or less air, as opposed to using mechanical forces to do that. And the tone arm uses same magnets. So when you play a record, rather than gravity holding that stylus down, it's a magnetic suction to the platter. As far as the cartridge is concerned, I chose the Nagaoka M110. Yes, I know there's much better cartridges out there at a higher price, but these are rated really, really good by a lot of different people. And honestly, I think with my hearing and the way things are, I don't think I would benefit much from a much more expensive cartridge. So I think this is a pretty good choice. Okay, so now I just kind of show you some of the functions of the record player. Use your thumb to press the power switch, and you see the tone arm just made its little happy dance there. Never really going to touch these speed controls. All we have to do is just come over and hit the start button. And you see how gracefully the tone arm comes over. Again, it's all done magnetically. It's sucking it down magnetically, keeping the tracking weight almost perfect as it does that. Now, if we want to lift the cue or lift up the tone arm, all we have to do is hit the lifter. The up light comes on. Press it again, goes back down. Now we're going to locate, and we just hit that button, and we can move it to wherever we want and drop it down, and it automatically goes down by itself. Then if we want, we can come up to locate again, bring it over, just holding the button, take it down to the end here, near the end, and it's going to go back down. Now I'm going to hit the repeat button. Hopefully it'll, maybe I got it a little, let's go ahead and bring it a little bit further to the end of the record. There we go. Down, and then once it's done, it should repeat. And there it goes, dropping back down and playing the record over and over again. And when you're done, if it's done with the record, normally it would just return back to its rest over there. And those are the main features of this turntable. You have the dynamic servo tracer tracker arm. You've got the automatic detection of the size of the records, automatic speed adjustment, the locate button, the ability to use your record player with the lid up or down, microprocessor, quartz lock control on the speed, very, very accurate. And there you have it. This is the Denon DP-65F, king of the direct drive turntable line from Denon, circa the 1980s. And I love it. It's going to be a great addition to my collection. This is my Eleanor of turntables. Thanks so much for watching. Bruce Naylor, your Boomer Consumer, and see you in the next video.